Hey guys, it's Dana and it's time to talk about money, and in this video I wanted to talk about how to pay off your debt in the best way possible. So let's get to it. Okay, so you're ready. You want to pay off your debt and you are not sure where to start. How do you begin this process? If you're feeling overwhelmed, that is absolutely natural. When we started paying off our debt, it was incredibly overwhelming. I was stressed out all the time. It was impacting my health. And so doing this journey is definitely a journey. And the first step is to figure out which debt payoff method you're going to do. And there are two very popular ways of paying off debt. Number one is the debt snowball method. If you use the debt snowball method, what that means is that you write down all of your debts, who you owe money to, and you write them down in order of smallest to largest. And what you're going to do is you're going to pay minimum payments on absolutely everything except for your smallest balance debt. You will put everything you can, all your extra money goes towards that smallest debt to pay it off first. Then once it's paid off, you can put a big giant line through it and move on to the next smallest debt, and you work your way down the line. So this is an excellent method for those of you who feel as if you need to have some quick wins. You need that, those motivational moments of being like, yes, we are doing this, we are seeing progress. And so this is an excellent method for those of you who know that your personality is such that you need to see some progress and you need to see it quickly. So this is a huge psychological boost, because then you can see and you can start saying, I can do this, we can do this, we can pay off these debts, we're doing it. Also, if you choose this method, it's very easy to track. You can get a big debt payoff chart for your wall, for your refrigerator. I will leave a link down below in the comments if you're looking for some ideas on what kind of tracker to build. I have a blog post where I wrote some ideas for you, but it's a good way to track, easy to track, to see very quickly which ones you're paying off. And like I said, I think the best thing is just having a list, and you can take a giant magic marker or a giant Sharpie marker and just cross it off, like big black line through it or red line. Next is the debt avalanche method of debt payoff. This method is where you put all of your debts in an order of interest rate. So the one with the highest interest rate will go at the top of the list, and the one with the lowest interest rate goes at the bottom. And again, you're going to pay minimum payments on everything except your debt at the top of the list that has the highest interest rate. In this way, in this method, you are saving the most money in the long run if you get those high interest debts out of your life first. With this method, you'll have long-term savings, because in the end, you'll end up paying off less money because you'll be reducing the interest that is accruing every month. So if you are someone who is motivated by knowing that you are saving money and you are able to take this on as a more methodical, long-term approach, then the debt avalanche method could be best for you. If you're numbers driven, if you work in finance, if you like spreadsheets, again, this can be a great option. Now let's talk about some things that might come up. So if you are looking at your list of debts and you have two that have the exact same interest rate, how do you order those? Well, what you're going to do then is you're going to put the one that has the lower balance above the one that has the higher balance. And then that way you can just knock that one out and then move on to the next one if they both have the same exact interest rate. Alternatively, if you're doing the debt snowball and you have two debts that are exactly the same amount of money that you owe on them, then you would take the one that has the higher interest rate and put that above the other one with the lower interest rate and knock out the one at the top with the higher interest rate. Now, what happens if you have an emergency fund and you have an emergency fund set up, which I recommend doing before you start aggressively paying down debt, is just have some kind of emergency fund set aside, however amount of money you want that to be. It doesn't have to be huge. In fact, if you do have an emergency fund that is sitting there with $20,000 in it and you have a debt of $10,000, you might want to consider actually taking that money and putting it on your debt to get it paid off. And But if you have a starter, smaller emergency fund of say $1,000 to $5,000 and you have an emergency and you have to use the money to pay for that emergency fund, then what we did when we were paying off debt is we did pause. We paused our debt payoff, we paid minimum payments on everything, and we started to rebuild that emergency fund back up to that dollar amount that we had it set at before we would go back to aggressively paying off debt. And so I recommend that as well. If you have to empty out or your emergency fund takes a hit, then take a pause on paying off your debt and go back and start rebuilding that emergency fund before you are paying off on those debts. Now, what about things like vacations or kids' activities, things that you are paying for? Well, when you're paying off debt, what we did is we did cancel a lot of the kids' activities. We stopped doing them and we found alternative ways for them to, do fun things. We also did not take any vacations. However, if you want to include in your budget minor vacations, camping trips are a big one. We did a lot of camping trips, very inexpensive, and the kids still felt as if we were taking vacations, but they were a fraction of the cost. And we went to local parks, local campgrounds, state parks is where we like to go, where it's very inexpensive to have a campground site. And so we would reserve that. We would go to it with tents, or I have, a blog post and I think a video on my channel where we turned our minivan into we put a mattress in the back of the minivan and put this tent that attaches to the back to it. But you can do different types of things that your kids will still feel like you're taking vacations, and you can even make it seem as if that's what you prefer to do, that you're looking to do this for the kids because you think it'll be a great experience for them. So you can still do things that are alternatives to what you've been doing, but that won't cost a lot of money and that you can continue to pay off your debt. And remember, if you're struggling with the length of time it can take to pay off debt, because it can be a little bit of time, then, this is like a good thing to sort of shift your mindset and to help you to stay motivated. Think of this as this is a challenge time period. This is challenging when you're trying to pay off your debt. But if you can look at it as, we're going to do different types of things, maybe for growth potential, like camping. I think those were good experiences for the kids to experience what that was like and not have these luxury high-end vacations. It was kind of something that they actually really think of fondly. And they've actually asked, are we going camping again? Something that they enjoyed. But think of it as a kind of a mindset shift for a certain set of time, a certain period of time, where you're going to choose to sort of live your life a little bit more frugally, simply. Minimalism is an excellent thing to sort of adopt during this time period, because then you can say we're not purchasing new things, we're not bringing new things in because we're trying to eliminate a lot of the stuff we have, trying to simplify life, trying to focus on the things that matter, which is relationships, with my friends, with my family, and really take this time to sort of develop yourself in a different way. Maybe listen to a lot of podcasts on personal growth, because it can take a while to pay off debt. And if you need to listen to videos such as mine, other people, podcasts, to listen to their voices as you're doing the dishes, I'm always listening to something. I have earbuds in almost always when I'm doing doing the loading and unloading the dishwasher, everyday tasks that kind of are just mundane. You can kind of be listening to motivational thoughts and speakers, and it's like a growth. It can be a time of growth in your life as you are trying to pay down your debt. And it will happen if you are diligent, if you keep your foot on the path. Pick a certain type of debt payoff method, whether it's the Snowball or the Avalanche, and stick to it. If you find it's not working for you, if you are discovering that you're feeling a lack of motivation, then switch it. Switch from the Avalanche to the Snowball. Or if you're getting frustrated that you can see how much you are spending in interest every month on certain debts, then switch to the Avalanche. Maybe it'll help you feel more encouraged to know that you're paying something off and you're reducing your interest by a lot and you're saving money in the long run. So everybody's different. Everyone has a different personality, different things that help to motivate them, drive them to get this done, to pay off this debt and get it out of your life so that you don't ever have to be stressed about this again. And you're going to feel so much better at the end of it. It's like that. It is so sweet once you finally do pay off that debt. And I highly recommend it. We paid off $98,000 in consumer debt, and it took us several years, and we had young kids and it was hard. Our incomes were not that high. And it was a struggle. You know, we really worked hard. And I mean, I would never go back, ever again, go back to borrowing money after going through the pain of feeling as if we couldn't make our payments. Our, you know, bank account kept getting overdrawn, and it was hard times. And so I completely understand genuinely what that is like. And but I'm telling you that you can do this. You can pay off your debt. You can do it. If I did it, you can do it. Right? So many people out there have done it. It just, you have to put in the time. And just, if you mess up, if you slip up, then get back on the horse, get back on the wagon, whatever analogy you want to use. Get back in there, get back in the game. You can do it. And it's, you know, just don't give up. Just don't ever give up. Just keep on working at it. All right. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. If you would like a video where I talk about my financial ick list, I will go ahead and link it up here, and you can see all the things that I try to avoid money mistakes and how you can avoid them. All right. And if not, I'll talk to you in the next video. If you do, I'll see you in that video. Okay. Bye guys.